This is NBC3 News at 11.
Good evening. We begin with the breaking news. 2 days after the Amber Alert went into effect, major developments this evening. 21-month-old Maddox Lawrence, she's still missing. The Amber Alert still in effect, but it's her father, 24-year-old Ryan Lawrence, who is in police custody. They took him in nearly 6 hours ago now. A 911 call reporting a man matching Lawrence's description came from a worker at the Thrifty Shopper on Downer Street around 4:30 in the afternoon. Police found him then walking along Downer Street heading towards the BALDWINSVILLE village just a short time later. Now, police have said Lawrence could be unstable, could have been a threat to himself. They said he was actually in somewhat of a disguise, trying to conceal himself with a wig, a baseball hat, sunglasses, and more when he went to that Thrifty Shopper store. But still, someone recognized him underneath that mask. There are no reports of him resisting police when they found him this afternoon. He was then turned over to Syracuse police custody. Now, Maddox is 21 months old. She has blonde hair, brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a white shirt with brown puppies and a pink collar. She also had on pink pants, a blue coat, and a gray knit hat. And when I asked the Baldwinsville police chief about her tonight, he said he had to defer any of those questions to the Syracuse Police Department. He just wouldn't say. Right now, our Samantha German's live in Baldwinsville, where that 911 call was made and started this series of events tonight. Sam.
Matt, this was a pure coincidence. A former worker here just happened to be at the store, and she noticed a man wandering around who looked familiar, even though he was heavily disguised. Now, that former worker was one of two women inside the Thrifty Shopper this afternoon. The woman who waited on the suspect says she noticed he had on what looked like a wig, a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a camo bandana that came up to his mouth. The man's eyes looked familiar to another woman at the store, and she instantly thought it was Ryan Lawrence. So as one woman stayed behind at the store, the former worker called 911 and went after the suspect.
She told me she followed him down towards Rite Aid on Downer Street, and the police came and they said that they apprehended him and they weren't sure. I guess they did ask for his ID. This is what an officer told us, and it was him. He seemed a little off, but I just took it as, like I said, I thought he was homeless because he smelled like firewood, like he was in front of a campfire or something.
Now, tonight, that worker who actually waited on Ryan Lawrence is still shaken up and frazzled about the whole thing. She says she wants people to pay close attention to Amber Alerts, and she wants people to pay attention to how people act, because she did notice that something was off about him. In fact, he was in such a hurry to get out of the store that he didn't even want his comforter in a bag. For now, reporting live in Baldwinsville, I'm Samantha German.
And Sam, about an hour ago when we had you on the CW6 News at 10, the helicopter was overhead. Have you continued to see that tonight?
Yes, I hear it, and there is still one flying around me right now.
All right, thank you, Samantha German, for that late information right now. In fact, that active search is underway for Maddox in multiple locations in the greater Baldwinsville area, near 690, between, say, 690 and the village. This is video from behind the River Mall, just off Downer Street in Baldwinsville, a pretty familiar area. Been some demolition happening back there recently. Air One has been seen flying overhead. In fact, a little earlier, we showed you some video of the former Tri-County Mall construction site. Police were looking over there tonight, too. Now, I talked with Baldwinsville Police Chief Mike Leffencheck at about 9:30 tonight, and he's the one who confirmed that, yes, indeed, this was Ryan Lawrence who had been taken into custody. In fact, he was there when this took place on Downer Street. But he said this about the search: "I'm not certain where the focus of the search is at this point. We would be checking any area in and around the village, areas that might make sense, even if they didn't have a specific tip to take them there." The chief deferred further comments about the toddler and her well-being to the Syracuse police, again, who have Lawrence in custody tonight. Now, when asked whether he is hopeful for the girl's safety, the chief said, "It goes without saying, we all are hopeful tonight." Here's what we know about what happened leading up to tonight's event. It's been a long 48 hours now. Ryan Lawrence was supposed to pick up his wife at work. His wife, Morgan, has a job at Destiny USA. About 10:30 Saturday night, she got a text saying her car was left for her in the parking lot with the keys in the ignition. When she arrived home, she found a message from Ryan saying he was taking their daughter, Maddox. Morgan called police at about 11:30, and the tone in his message led police to believe he could be a danger to himself or Maddox. The Amber Alert then was issued the next morning. That would be Sunday. We have team coverage of this tonight. Our Brett Hall is live at one of the search scenes. He's actually now into the town of Memphis. Brett, what's the latest where you are?
Good evening, Matt. As you just said, this search is becoming more and more expansive. We are off Whiskey Hollow Road in the town of Memphis, a few miles south of Baldwinsville, southwest of Baldwinsville. We just saw flashlights coming from this section of the woods. A vehicle just left here just a few moments ago. We did hear from police officers that they would be headed to Whiskey Hollow Road here in the town of Memphis. Once again, they left again. They are kind of on a goose chase, or that appears to be what they're on, searching anywhere for baby Maddox. We saw them a little bit earlier at the construction site in the town of Baldwinsville, and now the search has moved southwest of the town of Baldwinsville. The vehicle that was here has already left, but we have seen flashlights bouncing back and forth through the trees here in the woods. And this is a seasonal road, so since we've been here, we have not seen any other vehicles travel this road. It says at the sign at the beginning of the road, this is a seasonal road. It's not paved, so it's very dark, no lights, no homes coming off of this road. Not many people are going to be out here, especially on these cold winter nights. Once again, searching was taking place here. It has moved on. We will keep you updated on the latest. Brett Hall reporting live in Memphis. Matt.
And Brett, that all fits in with what the chief told us earlier, that there was not a focus of the search, but obviously we're seeing the sheriff's department out, the state police, Baldwinsville police, a lot of concerned officers trying to do what they can. Thank you, Brett. We'll check back in with any developments. Now, heightening the concern about the welfare of Maddox, add this to the picture. It turns out she's endured her own health crisis before. She was diagnosed with a rare cancer of the eye. She had treatment for it. It's all according to an online fundraiser, a GoFundMe page. They raised close to $10,000 to help the family. The page indicates she will need more follow-up with doctors in the future. Again, this Amber Alert remains on tonight. If you've seen Maddox, if you have information, you can contact the police, 442-5222, that's the Syracuse police, or dial 911 from your area, as the caller did in Baldwinsville about 4:30 today. That got the ball rolling tonight. As we learn new information, we'll push it out on our CNY Central mobile app and also bring it to you right here on NBC3 News throughout the next 25 minutes or so. Chief Meteorologist Wayne Mahar joins us now with the latest on the weather. And Wayne, we can't help but ask about this forecast tonight. We know the police are out searching. We hope that Maddox is okay and not out in the elements. However, these are all possibilities tonight.
Yeah, it is, and it's a cold night. It's a clear night, it's a dry night, but it's cold out there. Temperatures are going to bottom out for most of the area into the mid-teens overnight tonight, some even colder in a few spots. But here's what's going on right now with a look at live triple Doppler radar brought to you by Cayuga Community College. And we are dry region-wide right now with a clear to partly cloudy sky. And it is going to be a cold night. Bus stop weather in the morning. We'll look for a mixture of sunshine and clouds, 13 to 18 degrees. And then we're on our way up tomorrow afternoon with a cloudy to sometimes partly sunny sky. So there's going to be more clouds around tomorrow than we had today, and it'll be a little bit milder tomorrow than we were today, with the afternoon high tomorrow 35 to 40 degrees. Here's a look outside right now. Stanley Law Skywatch for you, overlooking the city. Route 81 from Adirondack Furniture traffic moving along under a clear to partly cloudy sky. We've got a storm on the way. I'll be back to tell you about that. When does it get here? What type of precipitation is it going to give us? And then we'll talk about lake effect snow, too. All that in a few minutes.
Thank you, Wayne. New tonight, funeral services have now been scheduled for 7-year-old Ryan St. Andrew, killed in a deadly fire in Rome last Thursday. Remember, the fire broke out around 2 o'clock. Police say 7-year-old Ryan, his 3-year-old cousin, were visiting their grandfather at his home on Torrance Street. Grandfather carried the toddler out to safety, then ran back in, trying to save Ryan up on the 2nd floor, but he was pushed back and burned by the flames. Firefighters eventually got to the boy. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Here are the details. A funeral for Ryan will be held at the Nunn and Harper Funeral Home. That's on George Street in Rome, 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Calling hours begin prior to that service at 4. Coming up on NBC3 News at 11, the department's not backing down in its fight to force Apple to hack a terrorist's iPhone. We're talking with one professor about what this means for your privacy and why he believes Apple will eventually comply. Plus, Ithaca's mayor wants to bring the nation's first supervised heroin injection facility to his city, why he believes it's safer and will help combat the heroin epidemic. We continue to follow breaking news. The Amber Alert remains in effect tonight, despite the father, Robert Lawrence, of the toddler Maddox Lawrence, being in custody by the Syracuse police tonight. Obviously, they're trying to talk with him. The search continues for his daughter, 21-month-old Maddox Lawrence. An extensive, although somewhat chaotic search, it appears, at this hour. A 911 call reporting a man matching Ryan Lawrence's description came from a worker at the Thrifty Shopper on Downer Street just after 4:30 this afternoon. Police then found Lawrence walking towards Baldwinsville on Downer Street near the Rite Aid a short while later. Right now, there is an active search going. Helicopter is in the air helping to light certain areas as sheriff's deputies and other police agencies make the rounds of areas that seem likely that are in the vicinity of Downer Street. Concentrating behind Rivers Mall Plaza in the Seneca River. They are also near the former Tri-County Mall, which is now a construction site. And you just heard from our Brett Hall, who said they were looking at Seasonal Road, of Whiskey Hollow Road, which is also not too far, just south and to the west of that location where the Thrifty Shopper is. If you have information that can help the police in any way, maybe you saw Ryan Lawrence earlier in the day, now that we know that he was along that Downer Street corridor wearing a disguise of sorts, maybe you saw him, that can add to the picture. Call 911 in your area or contact the Syracuse police. We'll continue to bring you updates tonight. Right now, we want to get a check on our forecast. Chief Meteorologist Wayne Mahar has easy duty tonight, but it's the next few days where things get a little sloppy, Wayne.
Yeah, they're going to be. I think we got a easy weather pattern overnight tonight and for tomorrow, but it's the mid part of the week. We're going to get that storm that we had talked about last week coming in for the middle part of this week, and now we've got a much better handle on the track of the storm. And once again, it looks like we're going to be here in central New York primarily on the warm side of that system, maybe starting out as a little wintry mix, but going over to a cold rain. Okay, here's a look what's going on outside right now. Stanley Law Sky Watch overlooking the city for you with the Stanley Law camera. All is quiet under a clear to partly cloudy sky and light winds. Around the region right now, live triple Doppler radar brought to you by Cayuga Community College, and we are quiet right now. Got a big, bright, full snow moon over the city, over central New York right now. And we're going to be nice and dry overnight tonight through tomorrow, and probably at least on into the first part of tomorrow night before some of that precipitation from this midweek storm starts to work its way on in. Current temperatures for you right now, downtown Syracuse, 20 degrees. Got 17 degrees in Atisco and in Marietta and in Camillus, 15 degrees in Clay, 12 degrees in Fulton, 17 degrees on Lakeside and Oswego, and it's 18 degrees in Fairhaven. Here are your average temperatures hour by hour through the rest of the night and on into tomorrow morning. 1 a.m. we're averaging around 17 degrees, 16 degrees at 3, 4, 5, 17 degrees at 7, then we're going to be on the way up. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning with 23, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning we're up to 29. The numbers today at Hancock Airport, 30 for the high, 21 for the low. Normals 36 and 19 and record 66 and -4 the record low in 1918. Of course, that low temperature for the day today, the fact that that was at this morning, we're now about a degree lower than that right now. So quiet again for tomorrow. Midweek storm bringing us a little bit of a wintry mix, going over to rain. I don't think as much of a wintry mix as we had last week when we had about 3 or 4 inches of snow in Syracuse from that storm before it changed to rain. I think we had a little quicker changeover this time. And then that'll be followed by some lake effect snow in here late Thursday night, and on into Friday. So here's a futurecast right now. High pressure moving away, but it's in control. Here's a map. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Notice this stuff down here, this precipitation down here. Could move into New York City late tomorrow afternoon as a little bit of a wintry mix or a cold rain. So heading down to New York City tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, be aware of that. But the actual storm system still way down here, 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, but it is on the way up. And I think we'll see a little light spotty wintry mix in here developing tomorrow night after midnight. And then by the time we get to Wednesday, here comes some locally heavy rain in here, off and on, right on into at least midday on Thursday. So here's what we're looking at then, our storm timeline starting out after midnight tomorrow night, a little bit of a wintry mix, and then predominantly some rain in here Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night on into mid-afternoon Thursday before going over to some snow on the backside of the storm, and eventually some lake effect snow Thursday night and Friday. So for tomorrow, clouds, a little sun, 39 degrees, a little wintry mix later tomorrow night. Mix goes over to rain on Wednesday, 41. Windy with rain on Thursday, 49. And then it goes back to snow late Thursday and some lake effect snow on into Friday. That's the latest from the weather outside.
Welcome back to NBC3 News at 11. The battle between Apple and the Justice Department over hacking into the phone of the San Bernardino shooter, Syed Farouk, that battle rages on. The Department of Justice filed a motion that would force Apple to obey a court order and hack the phone. We spoke with a professor from SU School of Information Studies who thinks Apple will ultimately have to go along with that order.
A lot of this is kind of showmanship because they're trying, they're trying to stop other governments from making these same kind of demands.
Now, the FBI says it only needs to get into one phone with a potential link to terrorism. They don't need to break down Apple's encryption system. Apple, though, says it wants current and future customers to know their privacy is secure. Also happening now at 11, the mayor of Ithaca wants to host the nation's first supervised injection facility where heroin users will be able to shoot illegal drugs into their body under the care of a nurse. Mayor Savante Myrick says nurses and physicians could quickly administer an antidote if and when a user overdoses. Addicts could also use clean syringes and be directed to treatment and recovery programs. These facilities are already utilized in Canada, Europe, and Australia. There's more to come tonight on NBC3 News at 11, but first, here's Nico with sports with a trio of stars of the present and the future.
Sure, the thrilling three freshmen. That could catch on if a run gets going in March. My exclusive interview will come tomorrow with Malachi Richardson, Tyler Lydon, and Franklin Howard. Will give you a sneak peek of that when we come back. You're watching NBC3 News at 11.
And now, NBC3 Sports, brought to you by Karuba Collision.
Syracuse basketball ready to right the ship. Good evening, I'm Nico Tamuri, and Saturday's loss to the Pittsburgh Panthers, the second game in a row where cold shooting doomed the Orange. The beauty of college basketball, another win or two and the Orange is back in business with the entire week now to figure things out. They're next in action Saturday. Going back to last Saturday, the Panthers topped the Orange 66-52 at the Carrier Dome, the second loss in a row for Jim Boeheim's team. The close game in the second half, the shots just stopped falling for the Orange, not connecting on a single one for nearly 6 minutes of action. The Panthers out rebounding the Orange by 20. Now, with Syracuse on the March Madness bubble, even if they're on the right side of it right now, they do have to focus on the road ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a tough loss, but right now we're not trying to think about the tournament or anything. We're just going to get ready for the next game and try and get as prepared as possible. It just happens. Everyone goes through a little stretch where, the ball's not going through the hoop, and tonight I was just able to make shots. So
I don't know. Sometimes you can be doing something specific the whole game, and towards the end of the game, coaches make adjustments, players make adjustments, and we just weren't able to make those adjustments needed down the stretch.
yeah, I mean, that's what we're worried about now. We're going to learn from this game and then get ready for NC State on Saturday.
Let's take a look now at the state of the Orange. SU now 18-10 on the season, 8-7 in conference play. 2 straight losses, dropping the RPI out of the top 50. But most of the tournament projections are out there. If you go to ESPN, CBS, so on and so forth, most of them average the Orange about a 9 seed. Still probably in the dance, but definitely needing some wins down the stretch to solidify that. The Cuse is off until Saturday, just like you heard Trevor Cooney say. It's senior day when they host North Carolina State. No question about it, Syracuse's a thrilling 3 freshmen, crucial to the Orange game in and game out. Malachi Richardson, Tyler Lydon have been getting plenty of minutes from the get-go. Franklin Howard has emerged in a huge way in conference play. Tomorrow, I'll bring you my exclusive interview with the trio, but for now, here's a sneak peek at the chemistry they share.
It's been great just being around these guys, growing with them. They become our brothers since we've been up there, and I look forward to our relationship going forward.
These guys are people that are going to be in my lives for a long time and probably beyond Syracuse, so I think things have been great so far.
Yeah, I think we're building a brotherhood here, and I think it helps on and off the court, I think, with our relationship, and we're just trying to keep growing with each other and get better.
The complete story comes your way tomorrow, plus some fun with the thrilling 3. Can they answer 5 random questions in 30 seconds? We did pull out some random ones. And there's only one way to find out. You can check out the Orange Zone Thursday night at 7 right here on NBC3. We are the authority on SU basketball. Coach Adrian Autry is my co-host. Head coach designate Mike Hopkins, our special guest every week. Thursdays at 7 only on NBC3.
Thank you, Nico. Appreciate that. We'll be right back with more. But first, we've been following this breaking news throughout the night. The active Amber Alert continues. The father, 24-year-old Ryan Lawrence, is in custody tonight. The search continues for his little daughter, the toddler, 21-month-old Maddox Lawrence. We've been showing her picture for 48 hours now. We know there's an active search going on right now in the Baldwinsville area at different locations centered around that, more or less that intersection where 690 crosses over Downer Street, near the River Mall, near the Tops Market, and that thrifty shopper where that 911 call was made today that tipped police off that Ryan Lawrence was in the area, even though he was wearing some sort of costume at that time, covering his face. He had smelled of campfire wood smoke at the time. This is video of police searching the area near the former Tri-County Mall property where a development is now taking place. They've also been near Whiskey Hollow Road. The helicopter's been overhead, giving a spotlight to any neighborhoods that they've been searching. If you live in the Baldwinsville area, it's a good chance you've either heard or seen activity tonight. If you have any information that can help with the search, contact police 442-5222 or dial 911.
Hey guys, Taron Edgerton, Hugh Jackman are here for Catchphrase. Plus we have Audrey McDonald, music from Daryl Hall and John Oates. Do not change the channel.
We continue to follow breaking news out of Baldwinsville. We have been throughout the night on our mobile app, the website, the 10 o'clock, the 11 o'clock news. Ryan Lawrence is in police custody tonight. Remember, he's the father of the 21-month-old, the toddler Maddox Lawrence. The Amber Alert remains in effect. We do not know where Maddox is. Police are not saying whether they have any information that they've gotten from the father about her. A 911 call reporting a man matching Lawrence's description first came from a thrifty shopper store on Downer Street in Baldwinsville near 690 around 4:30 this afternoon. Police then caught up with Lawrence walking on Downer Street towards the village of Baldwinsville. He was in some disguise, trying to conceal himself. He had a wig, a baseball hat, sunglasses, and even a bandana over part of his face when he went into that thrifty shopper. No reports of him resisting police when they found him and engaged him in conversation. He was turned over to Syracuse police, who have a jurisdiction in this case. Right now, there's that active search underway for Maddox. We've been telling you about that all night long. It's mostly behind River Mall off Downer Street, but the sheriff's deputies, Baldwinsville police, checking several other areas where they would hope they might find something that leads them to this little girl. Go to our CNY Central mobile app throughout the night for the latest developments, and of course, we'll have a full report for you on Today in Central New York beginning at 4 a.m. One more check on the weather with Wayne.
Okay, the Matt, 7-day weather outlook for tomorrow. Clouds